Welcome to the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. Here's your host, Brien Hanley.
Hey, everybody, what's going on? It's your man, Big B, Brien Hanley. Welcome to Big 12 Insiders. Thank you guys for tuning in, as always. Got a good show today, going over the weekend recap of some really good basketball games within the Big 12. It's a big weekend. It's a big weekend. There's going to be some movers and shakers this weekend, so we're going to go through it. Appreciate you guys being in here. Before we do, remember to like, follow, subscribe, continue to get in those comments, and as always, hit the notification bell so you know exactly when Big 12 Insiders content comes out. Also, make sure that you tune in on Thursday night. We did our first live last night. Went pretty well. We had some people in there, so just need to get more of you in there. Again, it's at 7 o'clock Central Time on Thursday. We're going to start going live and just taking your questions, bringing up topics, just having some fun in there. So appreciate the people that were in there. Want to see some more people in there and having some fun. So, but let's get to it. Right off the bat, first things first. This game is early, 1 o'clock Central Time. And to me, it's the first game, Houston and Arizona. Going a long way, people, to decide who wins this conference. Now, I will mention this. We went over it last night as far as schedules. Houston and Arizona. Houston has the most difficult schedule coming down the stretch. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Arizona, is second. So it's absolutely crazy the teams that these guys have to play. But having said all of that, they're equipped to do it, and it's going to be a fight. Now, this game tomorrow, I'm really looking forward to it. To me, Arizona needs it more than Houston. They're a game behind as far as the standings are concerned. I think they need it more in Houston. It's at home. They're coming off of a loss at Kansas State where I'm sure they don't think that they played very well, that they're capable of playing, at least shooting the basketball better. That was a bad display of three-point shooting. Give me Arizona in this basketball game. I like Houston. I think Houston is great. I think Houston is a Final Four contender. I just think Arizona is going to play with a lot more desperation because they know if they lose this game, yes, they can still win the conference, but you're putting yourself behind the eight ball. And so I think that desperation shows. Not that Arizona's a desperate team, so Wildcat fans don't go off the deep end. That's not what I'm saying. But sometimes you play with some desperation. And I think Arizona's going to do that. Houston will match it, but I think coming down the stretch, I think Arizona's going to have enough to win this game. But make no mistake, this is going to be a great, great basketball game. Next up, West Virginia going to Baylor. Look, West Virginia, I've mentioned this several times, and I'm going to keep mentioning it until they fix it. They are a sinking ship, just an absolute sinking ship. They can't get it right. They've lost 5 of 7. Baylor can't find consistency. I know they've had a lot of injuries, but they got to find something. They got to be able to put together and string together some wins. Otherwise, yeah, they'll probably make the tournament, but maybe they're that team that just fizzles out in the first round. Who knows? But Baylor's got to find some consistency. This, to me, I feel like this is West Virginia's last stand. Now, they're still firmly in the tournament because their resume will allow that. But that resume is starting to take on a lot of water, man. So they got to get some stuff turned around quickly. This would be a game to do it on the road. But, again, we're talking about desperation. I think Baylor is like, look, we got to find ourselves. We're better than what we've shown. So I like Baylor in this game, but I look for West Virginia to put up a real fight here. And if they don't, well, I think that'll be the telltale sign of where we think West Virginia is going to go with the rest of the season. Texas Tech going to Oklahoma State. Look, Tech got the scare of a lifetime on Wednesday from Arizona State. Kudos to Arizona State for what they did on the road. But I would say that Tech, look, you can't take teams lightly. Now, that sounds like disrespect to Arizona State, but Tech didn't defend. They didn't do the things that they usually do to win basketball games. It seems like, kind of like they're a little bored, to be honest with you. They want to play just in the bigger games. That happens sometimes when you have some success. You're like, we'll just cakewalk. You can't cakewalk in this conference. And Tech knows that. They know that. And I think that game will spring them back into life. Like, hey, we got to take everybody seriously. They're going to Stillwater. That's not an easy place to play. Even though Oklahoma State's not great, it's still not an easy place to play. I like Tech in this game. I think Tech gets it back together, and they understand kind of a workman-like game that, hey, man, we got to come to play. When we don't come to play, teams can beat us. The conference is too tough. So give me Tech in that one. UCF at Colorado. Let me stop there. I don't think I said who I wanted in the West Virginia Baylor game. I like Baylor to win the game. I like Baylor. I know West Virginia's got to make a last stand, but I think Baylor's more talented than West Virginia. The game's in Waco. Give me Baylor. Sorry about that. Moving on. UCF at Colorado. Now, you talk about falling off a cliff. UCF has just fallen off of a cliff. It is ugly. They've lost 7 of 8, 5 in a row. They were in the tournament soundly, and they've gone from that to they're not even being mentioned being in the tournament. And unfortunately, I don't think that changes. And I'm making the prediction. This is where Colorado gets their first win. They're at home. They've been fighting all year long. I don't think they're going winless. And if they're not going to go winless, here's their opportunity. I think Colorado gets this one. At UCF, they're talented, but they're just not. They haven't been able to figure it out. The Big 12 has got UCF. They got them. They got them. The Big 12, it just keeps coming. And you get a little bit of success, and you get fat and happy, and this just keeps coming and keeps coming, and it has overwhelmed UCF, unfortunately, this season. Give me Colorado at home to get their first win. The old Cincinnati Bearcats going to Iowa State. Look, this one's going to be tough. Cincinnati has seemed to right the ship. It wasn't the most difficult schedule over the last 3 games. They've won them all. But you could also say, they have lost some games that they should have won. Iowa State seems to be getting back on track. Mimilovic. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Y'all are going to crush me. Or what is it? Milan Milovic. I apologize. Crush me in the comments. I can deal with it. He's back in the lineup. Push Curtis Jones back to where he seems to be more comfortable. And Iowa State's playing better. Unfortunately, they might have played their way out of being able to win the conference title, but they're not out of it. They're definitely not out of it. They lost 3 straight. They've won some games here in a row. I really look for them to bounce back here. But this is a game that Cincinnati doesn't have a lot of resume builders. And you want to make the tournament, you want to make a last push to try to get in, here's an opportunity to go on the road at Ames and win a game. I don't think that happens. It's tough to win there. Hilton Magic is a real thing. Iowa State has seemed to overcome some of the adversity and has got the tide going the opposite direction. Give me Iowa State at home in this game. TCU at Arizona State. Look, I've been crushing Arizona State and their whiny, slimy coach for the last couple of weeks, and he's still that. Don't get me wrong. Bobby Hurley is still that whiny guy. But the team didn't quit, and that's the difference. They went to Tech and gave Tech everything that they wanted. So good for them. Team hasn't quit, and not to mention they are ultra talented. I think that kind of goes by the wayside when you see some of the stuff that goes on the court, but they're ultra talented. Now, can they continue to put it together? They got a resume, people, that if they put together and they win 4 of 6, they're going to be on the NCAA bubble. They absolutely are. So, but you got to do it. You got to protect your home court against TCU. TCU got a win over Oklahoma State on a Hail Mary last time out. Hail Mary last second 3. But if Arizona State's going to do the stuff that they want to try to do and get in the tournament, this is a game you got to win. Got to win it, and I like Arizona State. Kansas State going to BYU. This one is a big one. Kansas State's one of the hottest basketball teams in the country. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. They've won 6 in a row. And 4 of those teams were ranked teams. They are playing well. And and it's not that they're playing phenomenal, just out of their mind basketball. They beat Arizona at home on Tuesday. They were, 1 for 19 from three. So it's not like they went out and they shot 65% from three, just made unbelievable shots. No, they're just playing better basketball. That's the difference. They're defending, they're giving effort, and they're playing better basketball. BYU is a very good basketball team. I personally, I believe they're in the tournament. I don't think they're on the bubble, but everywhere you see BYU on the bubble. This game goes a long way into pushing them past that and firmly in the tournament. If K-State were to win, and they're right now, they're in the first four, the next four out. If they go to BYU and win, at a minimum, they're one of the last teams in. I think it gets them in, or they're one of the last teams out. But if they go and win, I think it's got to push them into the tournament. This is another resume building win that they can get that should push them into the tournament. So we'll see. Who do you got? Call me a homer. I think K-State keeps it rolling and they get the win on the road. It's going to be tough because BYU is not an easy place to play. Those fans care. They're knowledgeable. They're rowdy, which is a great environment to play in. I think Kansas State gets it done. KU at Utah. I've talked about KU several times, and as far as their consistency goes, they're not the most talented KU team, but that's fine. You don't have to be the most talented, but you got to find some consistency, whether it's shooting the ball, defending, rebounding. Here is an opportunity for KU to find that on the road in the Big 12 against a team that's not horrible. Utah is not a horrible basketball team, and you're going to have to play to win. Like, you can't half-ass it. If KU comes out with that half-ass effort, and consistency, they will lose this game. So if you're trying to find a way to get revved up for the tournament, here's your opportunity. Go win this game. And I'm not saying you got to go win it by 20 points. That kind of stuff to me is overrated. When it happens, it happens. But going on the road in this conference is difficult to win by 1 point. But now you're going to tell me, well, it's not impressive unless you do it by 20. I don't buy that. Just go win the game, find some consistency, and get yourself ready. That's what Kansas needs to do. I'm not going to keep going over the Badunga and Adams thing. Bill Self has drawn the line there. He's going to do what he's going to do. I don't think it works, but you know what? Bill Self is a hell of a lot better coach than I could ever dream about being. He's lost more about basketball, or knows more about basketball in his pinky nail than I'm ever going to know. So if that's what he wants to do, then by all means, continue to do that. But they got to find some consistency. So, and Utah is not going to hand this game to KU. So if they're going to win, they got to go fight. They got to go fight. So we appreciate everybody being in here. Should be a wild, wild weekend. I'm going to do my best to try to put some shorts out as these games are going on and get some information out to you guys. More content out there. You guys have asked me to start doing more content. I'm going to start doing that. I feel like it's my obligation to get this channel going even further. We've come a long way, but we got to keep going. We got to keep going. You guys have asked for more content. I'm going to start doing more content. So I appreciate the feedback. I appreciate you guys. Let's get another great weekend of college basketball in the Big 12. And I will talk to you guys this weekend. But more importantly, I will see you guys on Monday. You guys have a good one.
Thank you for watching the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. This has been a Spirit Street production.